rather glam 2009 .NET Magazine Awards, I was lucky enough to meet Otterball, who were up for the award of Design Agency of the Year. Now, I've been a sneaky little fan of Otterball for a while. I've always admired their flash work and also the work they do with musicians. And I guess the first question we need to ask is, who is Otterball and who came up with that name?
We get asked all the time where Otterball comes from. Otterball was just literally something that we thought sounded good. And Otterball all started, it was a project with my business partner Paul and one of our designers, Brandon. And he was commissioned to make a online portfolio to graduate college. And they built it, they called it Otterball, and it started getting a lot of just traction, a lot of press, and a bunch of people were freaking out about it. I came on the scene shortly afterwards, and we just started taking projects for people that we liked. It was friends and musicians that needed marketing, and we are all musicians in our own right. Now, I would never, being from Nashville, I would never claim to be a musician because we were around such wild talent, but we enjoyed music, and we were drawn to musicians, and so that was sort of the base of what we did, is we did websites for musicians. A little later on, Paul and I ended up getting real jobs. We worked in Silicon Valley at an educational startup, and like many startups in the Valley, it eventually folded and ran out of funding. And at that point, we were at the crossroads to, well, we're going to have to get a job, so why don't we take on some Otterball projects for a while until we find something real to do. And that was 2 years ago now, and we've been doing it full time ever since. Well, I think the first one I want to show you guys is a project we did for an organization called Help Portrait. I was approached by a good friend of mine by the name of Jeremy Cowart, and Jeremy, as he puts it, is a photographer to the stars, the suffering, and everyone in between, which is Spanish for he gets to go on tour with like Britney Spears and shoot Sting and all this kind of stuff. But he's a sweetheart of a guy, and he organized this movement called Help Portrait, where photographers were getting together, not promoting themselves, but shooting people that didn't have access to professional photography. So as soon as he mentioned that he wanted us to be involved, we were going to figure out the details later. We wanted to make sure and help him and provide him a great website. So this is the website we did for Help Portrait. One of the things that we knew was that it was going to need to look incredible, but that it was going to we were going to have to leverage a lot of information as well, because there was a community attached to this, there was a store attached to this, and so our job was to put a great marketing face on the front of this project. This particular website is one of our large format flash websites, where you have the ability to use the browser scroll wheel. You can shuttle forward and back through the pages by using the browser. There's an iPhone website that comes standard with it. It's all 100% search engine optimized. And one of the things that you never see because this is the website, but it's all content managed as well from a custom content management system that we built for them. When we, from a design perspective, the things that we wanted to do is Jeremy was very adamant about using faces as one of the highlights. And so we made an interactive background that didn't distract from the content. That was one of the things we were really worried about, is we wanted to make a background that was cool, but that didn't take away from, obviously, their mission. So you can see you have a trailing effect that we did in Flash with all of these just cropped in pictures of faces. Unidentifiable faces, but just a cool effect. We did a lot of things here. We wanted to feature a very large multimedia area that was versatile, that could show images of the event. We had a lot of videographers involved. We had a lot of people that were presenting user-generated content, and so we wanted a great place to feature that. Obviously, right up front was the ways to get involved, finding someone in need, taking their portrait, printing their portrait, and then delivering it to them. But I think that this particular area was one of the things we really wanted to do. There was a lot of news coming out of Help Portrait. If you don't know much about it, it blew up, and CNN covered it, and it was crazy. It was all over the world, and so there was a lot of news coming up. So we wanted to make sure that not only the news was up there, but that people had the ability to interact with it. And so we used what's called Twitter commenting. and the comments have diminished a little bit from their height during the actual movement. But if you look, people have the ability to tweet their comments for that particular news item. And what that did for this particular site was it allowed people to put their comments on their Twitter feed, which ultimately brought people back to the website. So it just didn't live in a commenting area like on a blog, but it was both visible here on their marketing website and on multiple people's Twitter accounts. And as you see on the homepage, we take Twitter very, very seriously. We have a specific section for their feed, for @replies, and the ability to follow. I don't know. We just wanted to make sure that this felt like a worldwide movement, and leveraging some of the social networking tools that are already out there was important to us, rather than trying to make it strictly a destination website. Having lots of things populated from user-generated feeds, I think was key to making sure that it was effective. We could question whether Otterball is successful yet. We have certainly enjoyed the clients that we work with, the acclaim that we get for the projects that we do. But it's funny, I have new designers ask me similar questions all the time, and we have a passion for the upcoming generation of designers, and so I really enjoy speaking to them and talking to them about all the dumb mistakes we made along the way. I would say one of the things that I encourage designers right off the bat to do is to work with like-minded people. You're not going to be good at everything. For us, we were drawn to the music business. For others, it could be nonprofits. We know a lot of designers that are just passionate about these Haiti projects, or projects surrounding fresh water, projects surrounding just giving to your community. But I would say collect with people that are like-minded. One of the things that I tell young designers that oftentimes is a little bit of tough love is that if you are taking on projects because you need the money, you should consider a job at Starbucks. You really should, because honestly, if you're taking projects because of that you need the money, it's not benefiting you. It might feel good at the time. You might be able to pay your rent. You might be able to eat more than ramen noodle for that day. But ultimately, as far as your career is concerned, you need to work on projects that benefit you in the long run. Another thing that we encourage young designers to do, and we did this as well, is that never give away your work for free. And that is totally counterintuitive to what most schools and most people tell you. And I don't know if I'm right. This is what worked for us. But in my opinion, when you give your work away for free, it devalues what you do. You might get some recognition, you might get some exposure, but ultimately that person's never going to come back to you for a paying gig because you have set yourself up as a lower class, as someone that is giving handouts. Instead, some of the things that we did very, very early on was figuring out barter arrangements. We didn't have a lot of capital, and although we needed money, there were other things we needed too, whether it be a trade of service, office space, resources, equipment. We've had clients that had a vacation home, and they've offered, hey, if you do this work for us, you can stay in my place whenever you like. Those are the things, when we bring equal gifts to the table, that establishes a relationship that can last and can grow together. So we feel ultimately that you're only as good as the quality of your client. If your clients are not where you want to be, then you need to go and find better clients, because that way, as they grow, you can grow as well. You talk about it like we're rebels or something. We just, I would say we march to the beat of a different drum. It's very